So today we are going to study the remaining anemia. So we already know that anemia is a condition in which the number of red blood cells or hemoglobin concentration is lower than the normal, appropriate for age and sex. So for pregnant women, the normal hemoglobin levels are approximately 11. For non-pregnant women, it is 12, and from men, it is 13. So 11, 12, 13. So we have classified the anemia. Etiologically, we have classified according to the decreased production, increased destruction, or blood loss. Decreased production, we have talked about the iron deficiency anemia and anemia of inflammation. Similarly, other diseases, for example, renal diseases, hypometabolic states, endocrine deficiencies of thyroid, and liver diseases, they also causes the decreased production of RBCs. Today we are going to study megaloblastic anemia, aplastic anemia, and hemolytic anemia. One more classification to categorize anemia is hypoproliferative anemia and hyperproliferative anemia. Hypo and hyper proliferation of reticulocytes or bone marrow is the basis for classification. If bone marrow is producing less RBCs, it is called as hypoproliferative. If bone marrow is producing more RBCs, then it is called as hyperproliferative. And in spite of that, there is anemia. So bone marrow, if it is unable to produce number of RBCs requisite, the required number of RBCs, then it is called as hypoproliferative anemia. In this case, there will be decreased number of reticulocytes. Normal is 0.5 to 1.5% in the blood. The causes could be lack of iron or other causes, for example, leukemia, aplastic anemia, renal diseases, endocrine deficiencies. These all leads to the bone marrow hypocellularity. Then hyperproliferation means the bone marrow is all right. There is no problem in the bone marrow. Bone marrow is producing good number of reticulocytes, or in fact more number of reticulocytes. The causes could be megaloblastic, hemolytic, hemorrhage, and post-anemia treatment. So today we are going to talk about megaloblastic anemia. Megaloblastic anemias are diverse group of anemias. That means they are grouping of, there are many group of anemias are characterized, and they are characterized by impaired DNA synthesis. The DNA synthesis of the body, of the cells, it is impaired, and as a result there is characteristic morphological changes in the shape of the RBCs, hematopoietic cells. And it happens because the maturation of the nucleus is delayed because of certain factors. We will talk about those factors. Whereas the cytoplasm and the membrane and the other structures, they develop normally. Megaloblastic anemias, they are characterized by the presence of abnormal RBCs, abnormal sized RBCs, which are called as megaloblast. That is why it is called as megaloblastic anemia. And the process is called as megaloblastosis of bone marrow. The red cells in the peripheral blood are also larger, and these are also larger than the normal, and they are called as macrocytes. These megaloblasts, they convert into macrocytes. Megaloblastic anemias are common among anemias due to impaired red cell production, being second in incidence to IDA and AI. That means the third most common anemias found in the society are megaloblastic anemias. What are the causes for megaloblastic anemias? Number one cause is vitamin B12 deficiency and folic acid deficiency, and sometimes their abnormal metabolism because of some genetic causes or some acquired causes. That could also be the reason. A person taking good amount of vitamin B12 but having some genetic troubles will not be able to metabolize it properly. Whereas the other causes like myeloid leukemia, blood cancers, myelodysplasia, and some drugs like hydroxyurea, zidovudine, especially in the HIV treatment. These drugs, they interfere with the RBC production or nuclear maturations. Pathogenesis. So we know that the main causes are vitamin B12 and folic acid deficiencies, and these vitamins, they are very important. Vitamin B12 and vitamin B9, they are very important to produce 4 nucleotides of the DNA, that is thymine, adenine, guanine, and cytosine. Now when the body is lacking in these vitamins, then the production of these nucleic acids are not proper. As a result, the DNA production and DNA maturation is affected. So the nuclear DNA synthesis and nuclear maturation is affected, and as a result there is delay in cell division or blockage in cell division. Sometimes cell division do not happen, or if it happens, it is delayed. Whereas the synthesis of other proteins, for example RNA or the membrane or the other organelles, they are normal, so the cytoplasmic maturation is normal. So the nuclear maturation lags behind the cytoplasmic maturation, and hemoglobinization, that is formation of hemoglobin of cytoplasm, continues for a long time. So this is nuclear to cytoplasmic asynchrony, means nuclear maturation is delayed whereas cytoplasmic maturation is happening at the right time, with the right time. It results in formation of large nucleated erythrocyte precursors named as megaloblasts. So these megaloblasts are the large erythrocyte precursors, and these mature into the large sized RBCs, which are called as macrocytes. So here is the erythropoiesis, the erythropoietic stage: pro-normoblast, normoblast, normoblast, normoblast. It changes into polychromatic erythrocyte and ultimately to RBC, which is normally it is normocytic and normochromic. Normochromic for its red color and normocytic for its size. Whereas the abnormal one, promegaloblast, megaloblast, the megaloblast is formed and the nuclear maturation is delayed, and ultimately there is formation of macrocytic normochromic RBCs or microcytic hypochromic RBCs, which are not completely round, they are oval shaped, so they are called as macroovelocytes. So clinical features, definitely there will be the features of anemia present. Apart from that, anorexia, weight loss, diarrhea and constipation are very characteristic. Glossitis is inflammation of the tongue. The tongue becomes red in color, strawberry red in color, and it becomes atrophied of the papillaries of the papillas, and it becomes smooth, it becomes red color. That is glossitis, inflammation of the tongue. Angular chelosis, we have talked about this. Angular stomatitis, the cracking at the angle of the lips. Then jaundice, because there is more destruction of RBCs, so there could be unconjugated bilirubinemias. Reversible skin hyperpigmentation, skin becomes dark colored, which reverses as the vitamin deficiencies are fulfilled. Especially vitamin B12 is responsible for this, and the most common site is at the knuckles of the hand. Other general effects of these vitamin B12 and folic acid deficiencies are infertility, recurrent fetal loss, especially due to folic acid, neural tube defects for folic acid, cardiovascular diseases, that is ischemic heart diseases most commonly, cerebrovascular diseases, example stroke, malignancies, breast cancer, gastric cancer. Person is more prone to get these cancers if they are deficient in vitamin B12 and vitamin B9. Neurological manifestations, especially in the cases of vitamin B12, peripheral neuropathies, that is abnormal sensations in the hands and the legs, demyelination disorders, that is loss of control, paresthesia, weakness, dementia, psychotic disturbances, visual impairments and intellectual impairments. Hemoglobin investigations, the hemoglobin is less, usually in the range of 5 to 10 gram per deciliter. Hematocrit, the packed cell volume is decreased because the number of RBCs are decreased. Red cell indices, the mean corpuscular volume is more, it is above the normal range, the mean corpuscular volume, because the RBC is bigger in size, it is macroovelocyte. The hemoglobin concentration HCT is proportionately increased because the RBC has become larger and it can accommodate more hemoglobin, so the MCHC values have increased. That is why MCHC is more accurate than hemoglobin levels. Then mean cell hemoglobin, it is also increased. Peripheral smears, the RBCs, they show typical macrocytic and oval size, macroovelocytes, which is a diagnostic of megaloblastic anemia, and they are hyperchromic, right? They are not hypochromic, they are hyperchromic because they have more hemoglobin concentration in them. WBCs are also decreased because of the nuclear maturation defects, and they show hypersegmented neutrophils. Platelets are also decreased, and reticulocyte count, it is normal or it is low. Serum folate levels, the folic acid levels are also low. Serum vitamin B12 levels, they are also low. Methyl malonic acid and homocysteine levels, they help to differentiate that which is which is which vitamin B12 or folic acid. MMA is elevated in vitamin B12, whereas homocysteine level is elevated in both. So you can see the pathological picture here. The peripheral blood smear will show these are the hypersegmented neutrophils. The WBCs will be hypersegmented, which are characteristic of the megaloblastic anemias, and you can see these RBCs, the macroovelocytes RBCs, which are having less pallor than the normal, so they are hyperchromic. Macrocytes or macroovelocytes hyperchromic. Then vitamin B12 deficiencies causes vegans, people who don't take milk products, because vitamin B12 is found only in animal source, in meat and in dairy products. Malabsorption, as in the case of pernicious anemia. We will talk about this pernicious anemia. Gastric causes, for example, intrinsic factor deficiencies, or we will talk about this intrinsic factor. It is important to absorb vitamin B12, or functional abnormalities, some other gastric functional abnormalities. Gastrectomy, if stomach is removed for due to some reason, say stomach cancer. Intestinal causes, intestine is not able to some of the problems of the intestines, like diverticulosis, like fistulas, like intestinal strictures, right, or ileal resections, Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel disease, that is tropical sprue, that is indigestion, transcobalamin 11 deficiency, the enzyme to metabolize the this folic acid. And fish tapeworm, this tapeworm also leads to vitamin B12 deficiency, because it takes all the vitamin B12. Then folate deficiency causes, dietary causes, old age, infancy, poverty, alcoholism, psychiatrically disturbed because they don't take food. Malabsorptions, for example sprue, for example enteropathies, for example some herpes infections, or intestinal megablastosis. Excess utilization, pregnancy, lactation, right, in such cases the folate deficiency increases, or in some hematological diseases, for example hemolytic anemia, sickle cell anemias, thalassemias, some CAs, some lymphomas, leukemias, some inflammatory bowel diseases, metabolic disease, for example homocystinuria, it causes folic deficiencies. In congestive heart failure, patient loses folic acid, or hemodialysis also leads to the deficiency of folic acid. Antifolate drugs, very important, anticonvulsant drugs like phenytoin, barbiturates, these causes folic acid deficiencies, or methotrexate also causes folic acid deficiency. Sulfasalazine, very important drug. Barbiturates, very important drugs. Nitrofurantoin, very important antibiotics. Anti-tubercular treatments, they also causes folate deficiencies. Mixed diseases like liver disease, alcoholism, and ICU admissions, they also causes folic acid deficiencies. Pernicious anemias. Now we are going to talk about pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia is a type of megaloblastic anemia, but the cause is not vitamin B12 or folic acid, but the cause is an autoimmune problem. So this vitamin B12 requires intrinsic factor, which is produced in the stomach, so that it can be absorbed in the jejunum, right? So there is autoimmune destruction of this intrinsic factor, leading to no intrinsic factor in the body, leading to no vitamin B12 absorption. So pernicious anemia is an anemia which is due to the deficiency of intrinsic factor because of autoimmune process, which causes impaired absorption of vitamin B12. Right, autoantibodies like anti-intrinsic factor antibodies or parietal cell antibodies. The parietal cell produces intrinsic factor in the stomach. Parietal cells of the stomach, they produces intrinsic factor. The classical triad of this presentation are weakness, sore throat, and paresthesia because of the deficiency of vitamin B12. Painful red beefy tongue, that is glossitis, and atrophy of papillae is seen. Patient complains of loss of taste and appetite. Peripheral neuropathy, glove and sock distribution, that means and the areas where we wear the glove and the socks, they will be paresthized. Then atherosclerosis, because of the serum homocysteine levels, they are raised because of the deficiencies of vitamin B12, which causes the risk for increased atherosclerosis and thrombosis. Investigations, again serum B12 level, MMA levels, and urinary excretions of MMA. Schilling test, right? Schilling test is cobalt. We put some radionucleotide into the body and see the absorption of vitamin B12. Hardly it is performed these days. Serum antibodies to intrinsic factors, that is anti-intrinsic antibodies we can detect. So next is aplastic anemia. Next in decreased production, causes for decreased production of RBCs is aplastic anemia. So what is aplastic anemia? Aplastic anemia is a stem cell disorder, hematopoietic stem cells, which produces all the blood cells, right? So it is characterized because the stem cell, the initial precursor hematopoietic stem cell is diseased, is having disorders, thereby the myeloid and the erythroid, both cell lines are defected, producing both defects: anemia, neutropenia, thrombocytopenia, right? All the WBCs will be defected, WBC will be less, the RBCs will be less, right? It is associated with hypocellular bone marrow. The bone marrow will not be producing enough of the reticulocytes, so it will be having hypocellularity, right? Hematopoietic stem cells of the bone marrow, these cells of the bone marrow, they are replaced by fat cells, and this leads to the deficient production of all the blood cells: RBCs, WBCs, platelets. Clinical feature that is called as pancytopenia: RBC, WBC, and platelets. Anemia, neutropenia, and thrombocytopenia. Clinical features: anemia, which is progressive, weakness, pallor, dyspnea. Neutropenia, if it is there, if WBCs are there, it will be lead to again and again bacterial infections or fatal infections, right? Person may die because of these infections. Thrombocytopenia, it results in bleeding because thrombocytes are helpful for clotting. Then what are the causes for aplastic anemia? Number one cause is idiopathic, no cause, right? There are defects in stem cells because of some genetic causes or because of no reasons, which are unexplainable reasons. Then secondary causes from some drugs, right? For example, some cytotoxic drugs or some other drugs which the person might be taking, especially for radiotherapy, especially for cancer therapies, the chemotherapies. Idiosyncratic reactions between different drugs, physical agents, some irradiations, for example X-rays, or longer time for radiations. Viral infections, hepatitis, Epstein-Barr virus infection, CMV virus, they can also cause aplastic anemia. Inherited anemias, which are genetically inherited, they are Fanconi's anemia and telomerase defects. So investigations: the hemoglobin, definitely it will be decreased. PCV, packed cell volume, it will be decreased, right? Because the RBCs will be less, so it will be decreased. Packed cell volume, the RBC volume. The reticulocyte count will be decreased because the bone marrow cells are replaced by the fat cells. It is also called as reticulocytopenia. Peripheral smears will show us decreased RBCs, neutrophils, and platelets. The RBCs, they will be normal, normocytic, and normochromic. Their number will be decreased, but their size and shape will be normal. WBCs will be decreased, platelets will be decreased, bone marrow biopsy will show hypocellularity. The next is hemolytic anemia. Let us move on to the next part, which is hemolytic anemia. The hemolytic anemia is the second second classification category, which is because of the increased destruction of RBCs. So increased destruction of RBCs can cause anemia, and the anemias which are caused due to increased destruction of RBCs are called as hemolytic anemias. So these hemolytic anemias are of many types. The causes for hemolytic anemias can be genetic or acquired. One common acquired cause is burns. When a person is burnt, his RBCs are destroyed. Or cold exposure. Extreme cold also leads to the destruction of RBCs. Or malaria is very, very easy to remember cause. Malaria causes the rupture of the RBCs because the parasite goes into the RBCs and multiply, merozoites. Splenomegaly, drugs or certain cytotoxic drugs which are cytotoxic for RBCs, right? Certain venoms are also RBC, they also destroys the RBCs, right? So these are the acquired causes. Or some specific autoimmune diseases like autoimmune hemolytic anemia, AIHA. In this, there is an antibody in the body which goes and destroys the RBCs. So autoimmune causes. Other genetic causes, these are acquired causes. These are genetic causes. Other genetic causes because of the defect in the genes are hemoglobinopathies, for example thalassemia, sickle cell anemia. Enzymopathies, for example G6PD and PKD deficiencies. These are important enzymes for the glycolytic pathways, for breaking down of glucose molecule and production of ATPs. We require these these enzymes. So because of the defects in genes, these enzymes are absent, and as a result person has more prominent RBC destructions. Right, membrane cytoskeletal defects. The membrane of the RBCs are having some defects because of the genetic trouble. Example, spherocytosis. This is SPHE. Spherocytosis, elliptocytosis. These are based on the cell shape. So spherocytes like spherical and elliptocytes like elliptical. So spherocytosis, elliptocytosis. We are going to study hemoglobinopathies, that is thalassemia and sickle cell anemia, which causes hemolytic anemia. So hemoglobinopathies means there are some troubles in the hemoglobin. So these hemoglobinopathies, the causes are again genetic and acquired causes. Acquired causes like carboxyhemoglobin. If a person inhales carbon monoxide, that carbon monoxide gets attached to the hemoglobin more strictly, and there is no space for oxygen to get attached to the hemoglobin. So carboxyhemoglobin is an acquired methemoglobin or sulfur hemoglobin, right, because of some toxic exposure of some toxic gases, right. So these are acquired causes. The genetic causes, because of the genetic disease, because of the genetic troubles, these are categorized into two: qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative means when the quality of the hemoglobin is affected, right. Quantity means when the quantity, the number of hemoglobin molecules, that is less. So that is quantitative. Example, thalassemia. So we are going to talk about these. So this is the hemoglobin molecule, right. We know the hemoglobin molecule. It is having 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains, right, and each chain has one heme structure inside it. This heme is formed of porphyrin ring and iron molecule in the center. So total number of iron molecules are in the iron molecules are 4, 2 in alpha and 2 in beta, and RBC contains 640 million of such molecules, one RBC. So first we are going to study thalassemia in hemolytic anemia and in hemoglobinopathies. So thalassemic syndrome, it's a group of heterogeneous disorders, many disorders which are characterized by inadequate means less, or nil synthesis means no synthesis at all, of alpha or beta chains. These alpha or beta chains are deficient, and this thalassemia is a quantitative defect, means the quantity of alpha chains, the total number of alpha chains or total number of beta chains are having defect. Important thalassemic syndromes are alpha thalassemia, in which alpha chains are absent; beta thalassemia, in which beta chains are absent partially or completely, right. Beta thalassemia is the most common, whereas alpha thalassemia is rare. So first we will talk about alpha thalassemia. It is rare. So there are total 4 alpha genes which are responsible for the production of alpha protein, alpha globin, right, and it is if all genes are absent, right, then it is incompatible with life, because alpha is very important. So it is incompatible with life. Alpha is in all types of hemoglobin, that is HbA, HbA2 and HbF. We have talked about this. So HbA, HbA2 and HbF. HbF is in the fetal life, and HbA2 and HbA are in the adult life. HbA is alpha 2 beta 2, whereas HbA2 is alpha 2 and delta 2. So alpha chains are all parts of all hemoglobin. Therefore if all hemoglobin genes are, if all alpha gene are absent, then it leads to death, neonatal death, or in the fetal death, not neonatal, fetal death. Thalassemia with partial deletion. If not all genes are affected, only some of the genes, or 1 or 2 genes are affected, then partial deletions, they might be present. If 1 or 2 genes are deleted, then asymptomatic treat. If 3 genes are deleted, then the person goes into thalassemia intermedia stage. Beta thalassemia. Now this beta thalassemia is because of the deletion or the problem in the genes which are responsible for the production of the beta globin structures, these beta chains, right. So there are total 2 genes for producing these beta chains, right, and the defect can be homozygous or heterozygous. Homozygous means when both the genes are defected. Heterozygous is only when one gene is defected. So if both the genes are defected, the beta thalassemia can be having 2 categories, can be having 2 diseases. One is thalassemia major and another one is thalassemia intermedia. If only one gene is defected, heterozygous condition, then it is called as thalassemia minor. So major is major, right? It is also called as Cooley's anemia, right? There will be total absence of beta chain production. There will be no beta chain, right? That is why it is represented with beta naught, beta naught. There will be no beta chain at all. So the typically the HbA will be absent. Whereas thalassemia intermedia, in intermedia there will be a defect in the gene, right? Especially in one gene only. So there will be production of beta chain, but not at the normal level, right? So for example, let us say there will be only production of 30% of total beta chains. Whereas heterozygous is, they can be of two types, beta naught or beta plus. Beta naught is when the beta gene is, one of the beta gene is completely defective, it is not producing any of the beta chains. And beta plus is when the gene is defective, but somehow it can produce some of the beta chains, right? For more information or for more clarification, you can read this slide, right? And if you have doubts, you can message me. So one more diagram to explain this. Thalassemia major, when both the genes are defected. If both the genes are defected, there will be no production of HbA, that is HbA alpha 2 beta 2 hemoglobin. Whereas the HbF, the fetal hemoglobin, will be there in adults also, and it will be more than 90%. Second is HbA2, that is alpha 2 and delta 2 chain hemoglobin. It will be approximately more than 3 to 4%. Right? In an adult, in a normal adult, HbF is not seen after 6 months of birth, whereas HbA2 is 5 to 10%, and whereas 90% is HbA. But in thalassemia major, there will be no HbA molecule. There will be no hemoglobin A. Right? So this is thalassemia major, and such patient requires blood transfusion every month, because this HbF and HbA2 are not they are inadequate to carry the oxygen to all over the body. So they require continuous supply of blood every month, otherwise they die. Then thalassemia intermedia, when from the two gene, one gene is defected, but somehow it can produce some of the beta chains. So you can see it can only produce, from this diagrammatic representation, it can only produce half. Let us say it is only half. So 40% up to 40% will be HbA, that is alpha 2 beta 2. 60 to 80% will be HbF, and rest 2 to 3% will be HbA2. Whereas thalassemia minor, it can be present in two genetic forms. One is beta naught, and another one is beta plus. Beta here is the normal beta gene, and beta plus is the defected beta gene, whereas beta naught is the absent beta gene. You can say the defect is so much that it cannot produce at all. So there will be the HbA will be less, 90 to 95% will be HbA, right? It is minor, so there will be minor there will be minor defect only. So most of the Hb will be HbA, HbF will be less, and HbA2 will be less than that, right? Clinical feature, thalassemia major symptoms. Thalassemia major is the most severe hemolytic anemia. There will be increased amount of RBC destruction, and you can imagine if RBCs are more destroyed, it can lead to unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia. Age of appearance is 2 to 6 months, because up to 6 months this HbF is adequate in the body. Then repeated blood transfusions are required to maintain the HbA levels. Then the person suffers from chronic hypoxia, and this chronic hypoxia leads to many disturbances in the body. Increased hemolysis signs are there, for example jaundice, icterus. Signs of tissue in iron excess, right? There will be iron excess in the body. Hemosidrosis, a condition where hemosiderin is more. Hyperpigmented skin is one of the sign of tissue iron excess or iron overload. Diabetes, bronze diabetes, cardiomegaly. Sign of compensatory erythropoiesis, right? There will be more, the body will try to produce more RBCs, right, which is not helpful. Basically the immature RBCs, they will not be having enough beta chains, and ultimately those immature RBCs which do not have enough complete beta chains, they will destroy. So it will lead to more destruction, RBC destruction, and the person will be having this characteristic hemolytic faces, right, chipmunk faces, right? This flat face like chipmunk is having flat face from the top, right? Chipmunk face, and the cheeks are swelled up and the like this. This is for the thalassemia major. This chipmunk face is found in thalassemia major. So now thalassemia intermedia clinical features: moderate hemolytic anemias. They are usually beyond infancy. The major thalassemia major are detected in early infancy after 6 months, whereas these intermediates, they are detected later on, right, after 3-4 years or 5-6 years. Mild icterus will be there, moderate hepatosplenomegaly because of the increased destruction, and lesser transfusion is required. Thalassemia minor, they don't require transfusions, they are asymptomatic, they will be having mild anemia and minimal splenomegaly or hematological abnormalities. So electrophoresis is the choice of investigation where we check the different types of hemoglobin in the body: HbA, HbF and HbA2. So in thalassemia, the normally HbA is 90 to 98%, HbF is 2 to 3%, HbA2 is 2 to 3%. Whereas thalassemia major, the HbA will not be present, it will be absent, and you can check this figure. Other investigations are high reticulocyte count, reticulocytosis will be there, hypercellular bone marrow, the bone marrow will be having more cells, iron overload, right, the increased level of serum ferritin, right, and low TIBC levels will be there, hemosiderin levels will be high, excess bilirubin productions, right, because of the serum bilirubin levels will be high, and especially unconjugated. Radiological abnormalities, right, we can find these abnormalities on a skull, right, hair on end appearance. The skull x-ray will look like this. Then antenatal diagnosis can be done. Antenatal means before birth, right? We take the sample, chorionic villus sample, and we send it for genetic studies at 8 to 12 weeks, or we can take the fetal blood sampling also. Sickle cell anemia is the second type of hemoglobinopathies, right? We are talking about the hemolytic anemia. The second hemoglobinopathies in hemolytic anemia is sickle cell anemia. So it is the second most commonest hemoglobinopathies in India, right? You can see why it is called as sickle cell, because the cells RBCs have become sickle shaped, right? What is the cause? Deletion of the, because these are genetic causes, so deletion of the beta globin, this is not globulin, this is globin, beta globin gene at chromosome number 11. So what are the different types? First is homozygous sickle cell disease, SSD or SS. Second is heterozygous sickle cell trait, right? Heterozygous means the two genes or two alleles of the same gene on chromosome number 11, one is defective and one is not. Heterozygous. Homozygous is when both are affected. Mixed means when the sickle cell disease or sickle cell trait is present with other hemoglobinopathies like thalassemia. Pathogenesis. So in sickle cell anemia, the gene defect is a single nucleotide mutation. That means the adenine of the DNA is replaced by the thymine. So GAG codon is changed to GTG. So this adenine is replaced by thymine of the beta globin gene. As a result, the hemoglobin which is produced is called as, or the changed hemoglobin is called as HbS in spite of HbA. This HbS functions completely normally in oxygenated states. That means when the oxygen is complete to the body tissues, then there will be no problems. But in hypoxic states like infections, like infection in the body that requires more oxygen, or fever state, or exercising state, or if a person has gone into some high altitudes where the oxygen concentration is less, so in hypoxic states it leads to this HbS becomes sickle shape, the RBC becomes sickle shape. Now the features, in homozygous sickle cell anemia, that means both the genes are defective, and the clinical features, they appear at the age of 4 to 6 months. The chronic hemolytic anemias, the hemolytic anemia symptoms appear: moderate splenomegaly, sign of microvascular ischemia and recurrent infarcts, because the sickle shaped RBCs, they are unable to penetrate the blood capillaries, right, and this leads to the microvascular ischemia, microvascular blockage leading to microvascular ischemia and infarcts. Clubbing, nephropathies, recurrent epistaxis, chronic leg ulcer, Yes, this sickle cell anemia is also accompanied with acute crisis episodes. This acute crisis episode, the most important is vaso-occlusive crisis. In this, there is sudden painful conditions of the body, especially in the abdominal pain, and painful swellings of hands and feet. The mechanism is same because the sickle cell, the sickled RBCs, they are unable to pass through the microcapillaries. Cerebrovascular stroke, acute chest syndrome, sudden blindness, right? You can see here. Sequestration crisis and hyperhemolytic crisis and aplastic crisis are also seen along with vaso-occlusive crisis, but the most common is vaso-occlusive crisis. Heterozygous clinical features in sickle cell trait. The heterozygous condition, the disease is sickle cell trait. It is usually asymptomatic, mild vaso-occlusive manifestations. And in mixed means when this sickle cell anemia is present with other hemolytic anemias, for example thalassemia. Laboratory investigations, peripheral smears, sickle RBCs are seen, and they diagnose the sickle cell anemia very easily. Poikilocytes, that is abnormal size of the RBCs. Target cells, whole gel bodies, they are also seen. Sickling test is also done. Sickling test also proves sickle cell anemia. HB solubility test again low. The other hemoglobin percentage, they are less. It is in the range of mild anemia. High reticulocyte count, hypercellular bone marrow leading to high reticulocyte count. Hyperbilirubinemia because it is hemolytic anemia. Antenatal diagnosis, that means at the 12 weeks of conception, DNA studies of the fetus is done, right, by the amniotic fluid, and that antenatal diagnosis is done. HB electrophoresis shows this type of percentage of different types of hemoglobin. Summarizing the anemia. The anemia is RBC or hemoglobin, RBC number or hemoglobin percentage less than the normal. The causes could be 3: decreased production, increased destruction of RBCs, or blood loss. Decreased production like iron deficiency anemias, anemia of inflammation, and megaloblastic anemia. Increased destruction, the hemolytic anemias, example hemoglobinopathies, enzymopathies, membrane cytoskeletal defects, or some acquired causes like malaria, like burns, like cold. Right. Features, the common features, these three are very common features of all the anemias: fatigue, reduced exercise capacity, and pallor. Investigations: reticulocyte count, hemoglobin percentage, packed cell volume or hematocrit, red cell indices like MCV, MCHC, and MCH, iron profile like serum ferritin, serum iron, TIBC, percentage saturation, peripheral blood smear, which shows the size and shape of the RBCs, and also the paleness in them. So normocytic, normochromic, microcytic hypochromic, or macrocytic hyperchromic. So keep studying.